Hello, my name is Florian Bosky. I'm a licensed acupuncturist. I practice functional medicine and nutrition in Beverly Hills in California, and I have a special expertise in diabetes prevention and pre-diabetes reversal. Today I'm actually going to shock you with information that could potentially save lives. So let's start with a simple question. Did you know that almost 1 out of 4 people in America are either diabetic or pre-diabetic? According to the CDC, 57 million Americans are pre-diabetic and 24 million are diabetic. This disease does not generate fear because it can simmer for years, can damage the heart, kidneys, the eyes, and other organs, and it often only surfaces in middle age and is accepted by many doctors as a simple part of the aging process. People are usually diabetic years before actually being diagnosed. There should be an outcry, as just in the next 24 hours, 2,200 people will be diagnosed with diabetes, over 500 will die from it, and almost 220 will go blind or have an amputation. There are more complications, including heart disease, high blood pressure, nervous system damage, liver disease, Alzheimer's, and more. So why is there an epidemic of diabetes? Well, there's a genetic component to diabetes. People do have full control as to whether they get it or not by the choices they make in their diet and in their exercise. The core problem has to do with people's eating habits and its consequences. And those include, of course, excessive weight, especially abdominal fat, lack of nutrients, as many people eat junk and processed foods, and of course, lack of exercise. You can see how our food habits have changed over time with just sugar and grain consumption. Almost a 40-fold increase with sugar alone. You can see on the slide, sugar intake 1900 was 4 pounds, and now in 1999 it's 158, and now in 2012 it's even more. Wondering where all these sugars are coming from? Well, here is a clue. Look at the slides. Just look at the typical foods people eat, and you'll see they all have high carbohydrate content, which can be as unhealthy as refined sugar if overeaten. Bad food habits include stresses to the human body that promote all kinds of diseases. Junk food will increase consumption of refined sugar, sodium, saturated fat, while reducing consumption of vegetable fibers, key minerals, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins, many antioxidants, and beneficial probiotic bacteria. The other side of the coin is the increase in portion size and calorie intake since the 70s. Actually, the portion sizes were about half from what they are today. So how has our eating habits affected us? Look at our weight 20 years ago. When you look at the map of the United States, no states had a high obesity rate, and most states were less than 10%. Today, no state has an obesity rate below 10%, and most of them are way over 25%. In addition, our healthcare system is not promoting prevention of diabetes. We are waiting for disease conditions to set in, and then we manage the disease. That is why experts are predicting America will go bankrupt with healthcare costs in the next 20 years. We are already seeing the effect of a disease care system on companies and individuals. The status quo is not sustainable, especially when the CDC is predicting that if nothing changes, out of all infants born today, actually 1 out of 3 will become diabetic as adults in the future. The bad news, there is absolutely no silver bullet to solve this problem, while the good news is diabetes is absolutely preventable. So let's analyze the progression of diabetes. As we said, for most people it starts with bad eating habits. That results in excess weight, nutritional deficiencies. Then over time, this leads to insulin resistance. It means people start noticing high levels of blood glucose resulting from defects in insulin production and receptor sensitivity. That causes sugar to build up in the body. In conjunction with these changes, people start noticing elevated lipid levels such as triglycerides and LDL cholesterol, that's the bad cholesterol. However, years before people are diagnosed with diabetes, they are actually in a pre-diabetic zone. But what is crazy with our healthcare system is that the typical physician will monitor elevated blood sugar levels and actually wait for people to become a full-blown diabetic and only then begin giving them medication. What is not explained is that for about 90% of people who do go onto conventional care and diabetic medication, the complications of the disease are actually not prevented. So what is conventional care for diabetes and prediabetes? Some will be prescribed high blood pressure medications and or statin drugs to lower cholesterol. Once diabetic, people are put on certain diabetic medication and recommended an eating plan that is often useless and in fact can be even dangerous for people with diabetes. These steps do not get the condition under control. Under 12% of diabetics being treated with medication actually have their blood pressure, their blood sugar, and their cholesterol under control. That's a very small number, considering all the side effects of those medications. The simplest way to beat this disease is actually to prevent it. This was proven in a landmark study in 2001. This study showed prediabetes can be prevented from becoming diabetes with weight management, correct eating habits, and of course regular exercise. The easiest way to determine if you are a prediabetic is to answer a questionnaire available with this presentation that will highlight probability of prediabetes. So how can prediabetes reversal be accomplished? First, we need to get rid of abdominal fat, as this drives metabolic syndrome. People will then see immediate changes as damaging inflammatory chemicals released by fat cells are dramatically reduced. People also need to have healthy food habits, optimally eating 3 times a day, eating fruits, veggies, fiber, in combination with protein, which gives the body crucial amino acids needed to build muscle mass instead of fat, and minimize eating junk food, which is void of nutrients. The nutritional deficiencies are important because people who are pre-diabetic are deficient in zinc, chromium, magnesium, and they are low in essential fatty acids. Exercise is always recommended, even if it's just something like walking for 20 minutes. So to make all of this possible, we need a structured system. The system I use works like this. I have people eat according to a meal plan that puts the body into a biochemical state to burn excess fat, especially abdominal fat, while not having any hunger. In between meals, a nutritional snack is taken to prevent any cravings, as people will be on an elimination diet. There will be a different program for men than for women, due to different requirements, dietary requirements. 7 different meal plans are provided in this program so that there are 7 suggested breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, and that way people do not get bored with what they eat. If the suggestion of 60 grams of beef or the 35 grams of spinach for dinner is not the meal you fancy, you will have a very simple way of substituting the protein or carb as shown here. A 4-page symptoms questionnaire is completed before this eating plan is started, and then the same questionnaire is completed again at the end of 3 weeks. Here are the 14 health conditions we will evaluate. The results of the questionnaire above show 4 severe, 6 moderate, and 4 mild conditions. That's an example. However, the challenge is to know the root cause of the symptoms, as they could be due to bad food habits, excessive weight, nutritional deficiencies, or a chronic condition. But as you go onto an elimination diet and lose excess fat, the changes in the responses to the same questionnaire 3 weeks later can give great insight as to the root cause of your symptoms. The new results may now change, for example, to 1 severe, 2 moderate, and 4 mild. To a trained specialist, this provides a wonderful insight into the root cause of your symptoms and a roadmap on steps needed to prevent diabetes and to promote wellness for you. All of this information will be provided and explained at the end of 3 weeks, where an action plan is provided to cover. Number 1, abdominal fat status and how much more weight needs to be lost. Number 2, blood sugar support needs if unhealthy eating habits are resumed. Number 3, existence of potential food sensitivities or allergies that may need addressing. Number 4, possibility of chronic conditions needing attention. Number 5, correcting nutritional deficiencies to prevent chronic conditions from developing. And number 6, a host of other important wellness markers that will be explained at the meeting. If these wellness markers are ignored, over time they will become disease conditions. A great example of this is diabetes that is costing America $174 billion a year because people are waiting to become a diabetic instead of preventing it ahead of time. So don't be the last one to jump on the prevention bandwagon. The greatest gift of health you can give yourself is to determine if you are a pre-diabetic. And if so, take the required steps needed to reverse this dangerous condition before it is too late, and in the process experience weight loss, increased energy, better sleep, and overall wellness. Thank you again for listening. To learn more about diabetes prevention, please give us a call at 323-592-9952. Goodbye and take care.